Hi everybody, welcome to That's Football. Will this be Arsenal's year in the Premier League, or will they be classified as the bridesmaid who's never the bride? It's a big year for Arsenal. Yes, it's only pre-season, but I got to see them against my club, Manchester United, last night. And I think what's evident about Arsenal is that you certainly can't watch them in pre-season and say they're going to win the league. They are missing their new signing, Calafiori. There are still players to come back of the quality of Saka and also and Declan Rice and a few others like Saliba as well. But I think where credit is due to Arsenal over the last few years is that maybe last year people thought that the year before was a flash in the pan, and last year they pushed Man City close again. I think when you face Arsenal now, whether it's pre-season or in their current guise, you do see that they are an established runner-up in the Premier League. They are the second best team and they hold that position. It's not like they're about to lose that. And of course, any run of success, if you can deem that success, comes to an end. But I think Arsenal firmly sit as the second best team in the Premier League at the moment. And they give off that aura when they play. They believe it as players. And even in that pre-season game against United, they're missing a lot of players. But their structure, their confidence, the way they want to play, it's still there. And I think the question is, can they take that step forward this season? Or are they going to have to hope that they can hang around long enough to maybe see Man City get relegated or points deducted, and then they will be the clear and obvious heirs to the throne? But that might not be easy, because you've got the likes of Liverpool, you've got the likes of Man United, you've got the likes of Chelsea, you've got the likes of Newcastle, even Spurs, who are wanting to emulate what Arsenal have done so well in the last couple of years. I remember 2 years ago, before Arsenal competed with Man City the first time, you'd have been laughed out of the pub if you'd said Arsenal are going to finish in the top four, let alone be in a title race. So there is always that opportunity for teams to be the next Arsenal, to sort of come from outside of the top four and, become the second best team in England. But at the moment, it is Arsenal. Do I think they can topple Man City this year? I think what Arsenal have now, and I saw it again last night with the game with Man United, is they do have this aura, confidence, and it pours out of them against the opposition. Like, there is that respect and a feeling of not invincibility. I mean, that's a word Arsenal love, but there is that belief in the Arsenal team that they can go and win most games. And I think the opposition feel that respect towards them as well, that they're a difficult team to beat. So I don't feel there's any drop-off potential for Arsenal this season. The question will always be, how do you beat a side that can win their last 10 games in a row? How do you beat a side who, if they get 89 points, it's a bad season for them, even if they win the league? And that side is Manchester City. I just don't see a vulnerability to Manchester City, even if they don't sign anybody. They've still got Erling Haaland. They've still got Kevin De Bruyne. They've still got Phil Foden. They just know how to do it with blindfolds on. Whereas Arsenal, I think that, look, if I was in charge of Arsenal and I had the financial fair play and money to do it, I would be buying the best damn striker I could buy. I'd be buying another player that can help me in the midfield around Declan Rice. I'd probably be looking for a really, really strong left back. But Arsenal, so far, Calafiori could do that role. I think he's a good signing. And I just think that out-and-out goal scorer would be, the final piece for Arsenal. I really, really do. But I absolutely am comfortable that, well, not comfortable, but I absolutely do think they'll start the season well. I think they will be firmly in second place. But I think the Premier League at the moment is probably a little bit too far ahead for them. And I think that is because Manchester City are just so good. How do Arsenal close that gap? I still don't think Arsenal have got the squad that Manchester City have got. I don't think anybody has. I don't know if anybody who can do that in the Premier League at the moment, because that's the question that never gets answered. We talk about these big topics in football, like we did the other day about whether there will be games played outside the out of the UK, VAR, Super Leagues. But has anybody actually sat down and figured it out? Because I would love to know this. And actually, it's a really interesting point. Is it financially viable for anybody to actually do the thing you need to do to win this Premier League? And what I mean by that is, Manchester City have pretty much got 20 players that are good enough to play for most teams in the Premier League. Their bench is full of first-team players for everybody else. Financially, how do they do that? What's their wage bill? It's not only about keeping those players happy, but can you actually afford to do that? Well, I know for a fact that probably 90% of the Premier League could not do that. if you take the wage of all those Man City players, all 18, 19, 20 of them, and you put that into a Spurs budget, no. Villa, no. Man United, maybe. Liverpool, I don't know. Arsenal, I don't know. And that, to me, is the gap. How do you bridge that gap when financially it's impossible? And how does the Premier League look at that? Or do they not want people to look at that? Is that not what they want? They want people to talk about 115. They want people to talk about FFP. But if we've got a club that's won 6 of their last 7 Premier League titles, and their sustainability, however they got there, is legal, that they can afford to have a squad like they've got, but no other club can afford to have a squad like that, then you've got a monopoly, mate. You've got a guy who's playing Monopoly, or a girl, or whoever's running Man City, saying, I've got Mayfair, Park Lane, all the green properties, all the decent properties, Bond Street, Regent Street, the lot, and I've got hotels on them. And every time you come round, you might start the season well, you might get past Old Kent Road and all that lot, and the Isle of Islington and the Marylebone Station. But once you hit the home run, I own all of that, and I've got hotels on all of it, and you're going to pay. And that is the game of Monopoly in the Premier League, I think. I don't think anybody can tell me any different. Can any other club in the Premier League afford the squad that Man City's got? Let alone keep them happy, but can they afford it? And that's the reason I don't think Arsenal can win the league. I think 11 against 11, at their best, Arsenal can beat Man City and Man City can beat Arsenal. And I think Liverpool can beat Man City. And I think Man City can beat Arsenal. I mean, I thought Liverpool in the second half at Anfield last season dominated Man City, and they should have beat them. So Man City can be beaten, but over a 38-game season, when they've got the squad they've got, and none of those other clubs can build that squad, I think that's the difference. And I think that's going to be the problem for Arsenal. It's not whether they're good enough. I think they will be up there, and I think they're capable of winning the league. But we already know, and we can hype it up as much as we like, but why didn't Arsenal or Liverpool win the league? Because Man City can go and win their last 10 games like that. And they can do that because they've got a squad that Pep can be prepping from September, October, November, December. He can be looking at these players, and these players are going to come through at this point, and we're going to be there at the end. And until we get to the bottom of what's going on with Manchester City, and maybe Man City can do that because they broke the rules 10 years ago. They certainly are legal now. They've got the money coming in, but maybe they got to that point because they broke the rules. And that's something that the Premier League needs to look at, because there is no point having a Premier League season where one team has got the best team and the best squad, and because of that, no one else can compete. And if Arsenal are going to win this league, they need 18, 19, 20 players like Man City have got, and they don't have that. And I don't think they can afford to have that. I mean, Man City for the last 2 years have had Julian Alvarez as the backup to Erling Haaland. That is incredible. That is an incredible depth of quality. They've had people like Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne as part of their squad. That's where I think Arsenal could win this league. But I don't think they will because of the squad that I don't think they can build. I don't think it's that they've got to do it. I don't think they can build it. I think financially it's too difficult for them to build that. And then the bigger picture for Arsenal will be, if they don't win the league this year and Man City disappear for whatever reason, will those 3 years be 3 years that they look back on and go, we should have won a title, but we couldn't because of Man City? Or is this Arsenal model sustainable, that it will hang around for the next 3 to 4 years and be ready to swoop when that opportunity comes? And that, for me, is the question. Can Arsenal win the league this year? It's possible, but unlikely. Can Arsenal be the team that steps up and wins the league when Man City drop off, if they drop off? There's no reason why that can't happen, because they've got young players and they've got a young manager and they've got a good system. And I actually think that's Arsenal's challenge, is to stay there and just wait for the opportunity. And they've certainly done really well in the last couple of years of going from pretenders to established heirs to the throne. Get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video. I'll speak to you on the next one.